Welcome back to the channel. This is Trendy Storm and you are watching What If Naruto was Kurama and never attacked Konoha. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
A 12-year-old girl was strolling through a park in the Konohagakure village. She had a Heim-style haircut with short indigo hair. Her eyes had no pupils and were a stunning shade of pale lavender. Her skin, which was a shade of pale, seemed to glow under the moonlight. Tonight she wore black ninja pants that ended just above her ankles, black ninja sandals, and a cream-colored jacket that concealed no part of her rapidly growing body. She was a timid and bashful person. Especially in unfamiliar situations. She was thinking about the upcoming Ninja Academy test in a few days. As she was moving about, she was concerned about failing. She was instantly awake and focused after being startled out of her reverie by movement in the nearby bushes. However, she couldn't find anything. When she went to look for it, she was unaware that she was being watched from the trees by a pair of blue fox-slit eyes. Alongside Naruto, a young boy who appeared to be around 12 years old was present. His eyes were ocean blue and his hair was blonde from the sun. His skin was tanned, and each cheek was adorned with 3 thick, distinct whisker lines. He was dressed in black ninja pants, black ninja sandals, and a black skin-tight shirt. The boy did have some peculiar features. Though his pupils were fox-like slits, his canines were longer and sharper, and his fingers resembled a demon's claws. In addition, he had 9 5-foot-long, white-tipped blonde foxtails extending from the base of his spine, and 2 fluffy, white-tipped fox ears atop his head. He was simply going about his business, carrying out the task he had assigned himself. The responsibility for defending Konohagakure village. In all honesty, he only knew one person in the village, Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage, who had just begun to pay him occasional visits at one point. Minato even proposed that he adopt the young demon boy. Naruto was no fool, though, and he was aware that people typically don't accept his kind very readily. Nevertheless, after the Hokage informed him of what had happened with Kumo a few years prior, Naruto declared that he would defend the village. He made the decision to investigate whether there were any dangers within the village while he was strolling around and surveying its surroundings. He saw something that made his heart skip a beat while he was in one of the parks. He quietly snuck up on it and found it to be a girl. He observed her in silence as her skin appeared to glow due to reflections of the moon. As soon as he saw her eyes, he recognized it as a Hyuga. He had been told that the Hyugas were conceited, heartless jerks, but what he saw in this girl's eyes shocked him. He saw a lot of internal conflict, including self-doubt. Even though she belonged to the biggest clan in Konoha, he could see the loneliness in her eyes. Then he concluded that in order to understand why this girl felt so alone, he would need to watch her. He stepped on a twig by mistake at that moment. After finding no one, he had leapt up into the trees and watched the girl relax a little before she went to see who it was. After that, he created a number of shadow clones and instructed them to patrol the village. He would go watch this young Hyuga in the interim. Many things were found during the course of the following few days as Naruto watched Hinata and Hinata study for the Academy Genin exam. Hinata's clan treated her like a worthless piece of trash, Naruto found out. Her father did the same, but he was much softer, almost as if he secretly loved her. In order to observe Hiyashi's behavior when he is by himself, he made the decision to have a clone watch him. He was completely shocked by what he found. Hiyashi genuinely loved his daughter. But he was being forced to do something he didn't want to do by the elders of his clan. They were attempting to coerce him into arranging Hinata's marriage to a wealthy and snobbish noble from a different village. He didn't know why, but he snarled when he heard that, assuming it was jealousy. He then devised a strategy to assist Hiyashi in escaping the predicament. One night, while he was asleep, he slipped into his office, wrote the plan on a scroll, and set it on his desk. Hiyashi discovered the scroll on his desk and read it when he woke up the following morning. "Thank you, Guardian," was all he could think. A scroll that described Hiyashi's current circumstances, and the thought-out plan was also placed in the Hokage's office by Naruto. He even placed a scroll in Hinata's room to prove his point, telling her that her father still loves her and that she should just have faith in him and wait for the explanation. When he saw a boy with spiky brown hair and a small white dog pursuing Hinata while she was in the academy, Naruto became a little agitated but calmed down when she rejected him and the boy backed off without trying again. Naruto is unsure of the reason behind his sense of connection to this girl, whose name he discovered was Hinata through an earlier meeting of the Hyuga clan elders. He wasn't entirely at ease, though, because he occasionally saw a brooding boy glaring at her, and Hinata always appeared to be disgusted by this, as if she had just witnessed someone throw up. At that moment, Naruto realized the boy was Konoha's final Uchiha. After hearing what Itachi had done to his clan a few years prior, Naruto wished Itachi had killed the entire clan because, to be honest, he did not like the idea that the Uchiha clan could control him if they obtained the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Since Itachi was like the brother Naruto never had, he was actually kind of liked by Naruto until he killed his clan. Itachi paid him at least one visit every week. Naruto actually thought about visiting the Uchiha one night and castrating him with one of his claws to stop him from staring at Hinata, but decided against it since the Uchiha might not be able to bear the pain and end his own life. Naruto apparently made the decision to add Hinata to his priority protection list on the last day of the academy. With Hinata's Genin test day, Kiba Inuzuka and Shino Aburame, two of Hinata's friends and somewhat brotherly figures, were seated between her. They were hoping to pass the test and conversing quietly. Kiba, who had given up on dating Hinata, assured her that she had the best chance of passing out of the three of them, despite her slight anxiety. She felt a little better at last when she began to feel as though Sasuke was watching her, but not in the sense that he was oogling her. Rather, she felt extremely safe and protected. She assumed it might be some kind of guardian angel because, ironically, she couldn't see anyone else watching her but her friends. Her confidence shot through the roof, and she couldn't shake the feeling that she could pass. And to confirm that, a sheet of paper with the words, "I know you can do this, Hinata," appeared in front of her out of nowhere. PS, be mindful of the Uchiha the Guardian's signature. She was perplexed and amazed that someone was truly watching over her and protecting her after reading it, but then she recalled the scroll she had received earlier that week and realized it was from the same individual. As a result, she believed she had a stalker, though she wouldn't mind if he was actually protecting her. Everyone in the class passed the test, which consisted of the 3 academy basic jutsu, the Kawarimi, the Henge, and the Bunshin, that was called upon them during class time. Iruka then spoke about his pride in each of them and instructed them to return on Monday to learn about the teams. Over the weekend, Naruto made the decision to figure out how to get inside the Hyuga compound in order to monitor Hinata even more closely. After receiving the scroll and examining it, he had the opportunity to speak with the Hokage for the first time. He explained the situation to the Hokage and mentioned that Hinata, Kiba Inuzuka, and Shino Aburame are on a very special list of people to keep safe because they are 2 of her closest friends. After that, the Hokage had an idea of his own and chose to team those 3 together. Naruto then considered how he and Hinata could enter the Hyuga compound. He waited until Hinata was headed home before he moved slightly ahead of her and changed into a one-tailed chibi kitsune. Then he lay down, acting as though he was starving. Hinata saw the small fox when she arrived at its location and went right away to pick it up and carry it to the compound while holding it tightly. She went straight to the kitchen as soon as she got home to get the little kid some food, which he ate with pleasure, and then she carried the kid to her room. She changed and went to bed as soon as she arrived. After confirming that Hinata was asleep, Naruto crept away and made his way to Hiyashi's office, where he was seated and completing some paperwork. He hurried outside and walked through the window into the office. Hiyashi was taken aback, but he calmed down when he noticed a scroll in the kid's mouth. Then he started to read the scroll. Greetings. Hiyashi Hyuga, the fox that brought you this scroll is not your typical fox. Actually, it's a summons to keep an eye on Hinata. I sent it. I don't know how, but for some strange reason, I feel like I'm somehow connected to her. Allowing her to keep him and ensuring she always has him is what I want you to do. As Naruto is the fox's name, suggest to her that you use it for him. Good night, and good luck with the plan. With a signature, the guardian Hiyashi remarked to the kid sitting in his office, Interesting, very well, you best be finding your way to my daughter's room then, little one. After giving a nod, the kid left for Hinata's room. As soon as he arrived, he lay directly on top of the bed, keeping Hinata cozy and warm. Hinata was as joyful as she could be when Monday finally arrived. Her father gave her permission to keep the small fox, and he even recommended that she give it the name Naruto. As she walked to the academy, the fox kid was now perched on her shoulders. She now has the opportunity to discover her teammates today. Only if she were on a team with the Pink Banshee or the king of all emos could this day be ruined. She fervently hoped that she would not be on their team. The emo always looked like he was trying to undress her with his eyes, and the Pink Banshee could easily make someone go deaf. Fortunately, only her father and Naruto were aware of her appearance beneath her jacket. Hinata went to her usual seat as soon as she got to the room and waited for the teacher to arrive. Every time Sasuke tried to look at Hinata, the room seemed to cool down a little bit, and Naruto appeared to be watching the Uchiha that was present. Additionally, he thought he saw the fox on her shoulders glaring at him each time he made an attempt. It appeared to be winter when their instructor finally showed up and spotted Sasuke moving toward Hinata. He noticed the fox on Hinata's shoulders, which appeared to be glaring and growling at Sasuke, As he began to search for the reason behind the abrupt drop in temperature, Iruka eventually realized that the fox clearly dislikes Sasuke and serves as a sort of shield for Hinata at that moment. He made the decision to step in before Sasuke lost his nuts or a hand. Sasuke slowly turned around and returned to his seat after Iruka said, "Okay, everyone, go to your seats." "Okay, now that everyone is calm, we'll get started." Team 1 is. Everyone fell asleep until their names were called. There were 3 distinct reactions to the statement. Team 7 is Sakura Haruno, Zaka Hanasho, and Sasuke Uchiha. These included a fangirl squeal, a disinterested expression, and a look of complete horror. Alright, let's focus again. Team 8 is Kiba Inuzuka, Hinata Hyuga, and Shino Aburame. Team 9 is still in circulation. Team 10 is Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka, and Choji Akamichi. Your Jonin sensei will be here after lunch to pick you up. Iruka left the room after saying that, and the students all went to lunch. Naruto was in Hinata's lap, enjoying the comfort as she ate her lunch with Shino and Kiba. When Kiba finally inquired about Naruto, they were discussing anything they could think of. "Hey, Hinata, what's with the fox? A few days ago I found him injured on my way home and he was just so cute I just couldn't leave him there to die." "True, I might be more of a dog person, but if an animal is injured it is just natural to help it. Either way, when I brought him home I managed to sneak him in without anybody noticing, but my father somehow found out about him by the next morning. My father then said I could keep him and suggested that I name him Naruto. I still don't know why my father would let me keep him, but I'm not complaining." A woman with long, reddish-brown hair was observing the 3 new Genin not far away. "These 3 are already a fantastic team," she thought. Everyone returned to the academy to wait for their teachers. After all of this, after they were all inside, Asuma Sarutobi, a man smoking a cigarette, entered and summoned Team 10. The others remained in the room while Ino, Choji, and Shikamaru followed him out. Then Kurenai Yuhi, a woman with long, reddish-black hair, entered and summoned Team 8. The rest of the children and a slightly agitated Sasuke remained in the room as Hinata and Naruto, Kiba and Akamaru, and Shino left after Kurenai. Kurenai remained in charge of the group until they arrived at a training facility. She made them sit down when they got there. "Alright team, it's time for some introductions. I want you to tell me your name, likes, dislikes, hobbies, and dreams for the future. I'll go first. My name is Kurenai Yuhi. My likes are my friend Anko and Genjutsu. My dislikes are sexist bastards, child abusers, and perverts. My hobbies are practicing Genjutsu and hanging out with Anko, and my dream for the future is to prove that women can be just as powerful as men." "You next." Kurenai was addressing Kiba. "My name is Kiba Inuzuka and this is my partner Akamaru. My likes are dogs and hanging out with my best friends Hinata and Shino. My dislikes are Sasuke Uchiha and people who hate dogs. My hobbies are training with Akamaru and hanging out with my friends, and my dream for the future is to become a great and loyal clan head." Shino was the next to leave. "My name is Shino Aburame. I like bugs, my friends, and logic. I dislike people who kill bugs for no reason, people who judge others based on what is inside them, and arrogant people who think they are better than everybody else. My hobbies are collecting and training with my bugs and hanging out with my friends. My dream for the future is to become a good clan head and catalog every bug in existence." It was Hinata's turn at last. It takes far too long, so I won't stutter for Hinata again. "My name is Hinata Hyuga and this is Naruto. I like my friends, my little fox Naruto, my new team, and the Hokage and his wife. I dislike the Hyuga clan elders, the Uchiha, most of the main family of the Hyuga clan, and perverts. My hobbies include playing with Naruto, flower pressing, and hanging out with my friends. My dream for the future is to change the ways of the Hyuga clan and find a good husband for myself without the elders interfering." This is fantastic. It appears that my team members share likes and dislikes and are already friends. This is likely to be one of the year's top teams. "Alright team, meet me here tomorrow at 8 AM for our first mission." Hinata asked, "Kurenai-sensei, what kind of mission is it?" "It is a type of survival training. Now I am going to tell you something about this training. Out of the 27 graduates this year, only 9 will actually be made Genin and the rest will be sent back to the academy, but don't worry about that. From what I've seen you 3 will definitely pass." They all departed after that. Before leaving for home, Hinata, Shino, and Kiba made the decision to grab a bite to eat, so they went to Ichiraku's Ramen, their favorite restaurant. When they arrived, they placed their food orders. Hinata ordered shrimp ramen, Shino ordered chicken ramen, Kiba ordered beef ramen, and Hinata ordered miso pork ramen for Naruto to check if he would like it. After Hinata put the bowl down for him, Naruto licked the inside of it to get rid of any leftover broth, and 5 seconds later, the bowl was empty. Naruto then concluded that since he is attempting to protect her and not exploit her money, he shouldn't try to obtain more ramen from this situation. The three preteen teammates then discussed the possible topics of the test. "Hey, what do you think this test will be about, Hinata?" "I don't really know, but she did say that she had no doubt that we would easily pass." "Yes, I agree with Hinata on this. The logical guess would be that it is some kind of teamwork test." "You're right, Shino. That probably is what this test is about. That is a key factor in the ninja forces of Konoha." After saying that and finishing their ramen, they paid for the meal and left. In order to discuss strategies, they all arrived approximately 30 minutes early the following morning. Kurenai, meanwhile, was hiding in a nearby tree and observing their activities. She was astounded by how quickly they realized it was a team-building exercise. Additionally, she made sure to watch Hinata's fox while she was observing them because something about it seemed off. She sensed a tremendous amount of power emanating from it for some reason. Another oddity is that it appeared to be staring directly at her whenever she glanced at it from the tree, as if it was aware of her presence. Kurenai made the decision to come out around 8 o'clock. She described the test by jumping down in front of them. "Alright team, since you are all sensory-type ninja, I have hidden 2 scrolls somewhere in the training ground. You have until noon to find them. Whoever doesn't get one will be sent back to the academy." At that moment, 3 sets of eyes widened, but they were quickly replaced by eyes full of resolve. "Ready. Start." After jumping off in different directions, the 3 new Genin eventually reunited and began their search. As a team, they quickly discovered that there were several genjutsu setups in the area and easily defeated them. They found the first scroll rather quickly, and they had no trouble gathering it. It was difficult to reach the second scroll. It appeared to have been concealed inside a boulder by Kurenai. The fact that Kurenai was protecting the last scroll was what made it even more difficult. They all battled her, but they lost easily and failed to obtain the second scroll in time. Nevertheless, they all passed even though they didn't receive the second scroll because they collaborated effectively to try to defeat her. "Alright team, meet here at 8 o'clock tomorrow so we can start the real missions." They all then retired to their houses to rest and get ready for the following day. About 4 months have passed since Team 8 was formally established, and they have been engaged in a number of D-rank tasks, such as cleaning out barns, painting fences, gardening, babysitting, and catching Tora. The time it took to catch Tora was apparently set by Team 8. 30 minutes is now the fastest time. Wow, that happened so quickly. They were on their way to the mission room to finish the mission and submit the report after successfully capturing Tora once more. Since they had heard that Team 7 had just received a C-rank mission the day before, they hoped to receive a higher rank mission. Although they wouldn't expect a C rank, it would be pleasant to be free of the tedious daily assignments that academy students could finish. They gave Tora to its owner when they got to the mission hall. Everyone pitied the cat, but a mission is a mission. After giving their report, they were ready to depart when the Hokage intervened. "Hold up, Team 8, I have a special mission for you." Kiba exclaimed. "Really, what kind of special mission?" "The kind of mission where your team goes and reinforces another team. You have a B-rank mission to go on now. Normally we would send a team of Chunin or Jonin on a mission like this. Unfortunately we don't have the resources to send a full team of Jonin or Chunin, and you are honestly the best Genin team from this year. Your mission is to go and reinforce Team 7 on their mission to Wave. However, just know this, you do not take orders from the other sensei. You only take orders from your sensei, and do not let the other Genin get to you. I want you to leave as soon as you can. Good luck, and be careful." "You heard the Hokage team. Go get your gear and make sure you pack enough clothes. I get a feeling we are going to be in Wave for a while. Meet at the gate in 2 hours." Dismissed. When the group departed, the Hokage reached into his pocket and discovered a scroll that had previously been absent. He began reading it, and by the time he finished, his expression was grave. According to the scroll, "I have a hunch that the mission you just sent Team 8 on will become even more challenging, Hokage-sama. If so, Hinata's true nature might have to be revealed by the fox summon I have with him at the moment. Hinata simply believes it to be a very intelligent fox. Similar to Akamaru, I have made sure to inform him that if this occurs, he will be able to transform back into a human because of Kitsune's shape-shifting abilities. In order to keep them from seeing them, I will also be sending a few shadow clones with the team at a considerable distance. Regards, the Guardian Minato would undoubtedly require a drink this evening. Perhaps this time, Kushina-chan will accompany me." Meanwhile, another individual had been given a similar scroll somewhere in the Hyuga compound. Although Hiyashi Hyuga was relieved that his daughter could now embark on a more challenging mission, he remained concerned. His daughter was about to embark on a mission that could be a rank or B rank. "Well, I hope this Guardian guy is really strong. Whoever he is." Hiyashi paused for a moment, thinking, "I don't want my daughter to die on her first mission outside of the village. If Minato receives a similar scroll, I'm willing to wager that he will go out for drinks tonight. He is the Hokage after all, so I hope he doesn't get too wasted." At that moment, there was a knock on the door. "Enter." "Hello. Father, I have a mission that I must go on, so I won't be back for quite a bit. Very well, Hinata, just be careful and don't get yourself hurt. Yes, Father, good luck. Hinata, please exercise caution. To be honest, though, this is also a positive thing. She will be able to leave the village and the fucking Hyuga Elders Council in this manner. Team 8 left the mission office 2 hours later at the main gate. At the moment, Kurenai, Shino, and Kiba were waiting for Hinata to reach the gate when they heard footsteps approaching. When they turned to see who it was, Hinata was there. Sorry I'm late, I had to talk to my father. No problem, Hinata, let's just get moving with this mission. They then all started moving at full speed in an attempt to catch up to Team 7. When Team 8 eventually caught up to Team 7, they discovered Sakura frozen in terror, Zaka Hanasho unconscious, Kakashi imprisoned in a water prison by the real Zabuza, and Sasuke barely holding a water clone of Zabuza Momochi. To avoid being heard, Kurenai whispered, "Shit, that's Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the bloody mist." But no one was able to identify the source of the overwhelming amount of murderous intent that erupted after she mentioned his nickname. It never occurred to anyone that a cute little fox would take offense at someone referring to himself as a demon. After that, Team 8 devised a strategy to save Kakashi and his group in an attempt to capture the real Zabuza and deplete his chakra. Shino sent out his bugs. The water clone that had just rendered Sasuke unconscious was eliminated by Kiba, and Akamaru Hinata proceeded to jolt Sakura out of her daze. Kurenai then began to prepare a genjutsu to render Zabuza incapable of moving. Alongside Zabuza, Zabuza had no idea what had struck him. At one point, he was merely keeping Kakashi in a water prison while he watched some genin attempt to remove his water clone. Then, he is encircled by insects that are rapidly depleting his chakra, and what seem to be two of the same child destroy his water clone. Then he witnesses the arrival of another Konoha ninja team. He decided it was time to let go of Kakashi before his chakra ran out entirely because it was rapidly depleting. He believes he has enough chakra for one more jutsu after he releases the first one. He does not, however, aim at Kakashi. Let's see if you can save these new ninja that just arrived, Kakashi. After stating that, he decides Hinata is the ideal target. After spotting her, he demonstrates a number of hand signals. Water style. Water dragon jutsu. Things don't work out the way he had hoped, though, because Naruto noticed the jutsu as it was approaching Hinata. I guess I'll have to admit that I'm not your typical fox. Sooner than anticipated. Well, whatever. Kitsune style. Kitsune fire stream. As soon as he took a deep breath, Naruto spit out a massive bright blue and white flame that completely vaporized the water dragon and continued towards Zabuza, stopping just before it hit him. Zabuza was pinned up against a tree with a kunai in each arm and leg, and Kakashi was about to kill him when two senbon came flying out of a tree and hit Zabuza in the back of the neck, causing his eyes to widen even more before they closed completely, causing him to slump over. A mist village hunter Nin then jumped out of the tree and thanked them for helping to create the opening to kill Zabuza before anyone could say anything. The Nin grabbed the body and shunshuns away. Kurenai said with wide eyes, Hinata, I don't think that is an ordinary fox. I believe you might be correct, but why did he defend me and why does he now act like a different fox? At this point, Naruto finally stopped trying to be a regular fox. When we get somewhere more private, I'll answer all your questions. He said you take Sasuke, Kakashi, and I'll take Zaka. The Uchiha clan and their Sharingan don't really appeal to me. Okay. The two teams then followed Tazuna to his house after Kakashi picked up Sasuke, and Naruto, who had grown to the size of a small horse, carried Zaka. The home of Tazuna. Following their encounter with Zabuza, the two ninja teams arrived at Tazuna's house without any further issues, met Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter, and Inari, her grandson, who appeared to be in a rather gloomy mood for some reason, and took Sakura to another room to rest, as well as Sasuke and Taka to a bedroom, before returning to the living room to talk about what was happening. Naruto said bluntly, okay. I bet that you all have a ton of questions. Yes, and let me start by asking you a specific question, Kurenai inquired. Well, you see, because I'm not normal, as you would say, most people don't want to interact with me. I'm not really in this fox form most of the time. I'm in my human form most of the time. I don't want you to be concerned about my appearance, but I will show you. For some reason, when a kitsune sees a human for the first time, they take on the human form and resemble the person. The fourth Hokage is the person I will look a lot like. Naruto then erupted into bright blue flames that didn't feel hot at all. And when the flames subsided, everyone was shocked by what they saw. A boy about 2 inches taller than Hinata, with bright, spiky sun-blonde hair, cerulean eyes with fox-slit pupils, 3 thick and well-defined whisker marks on each cheek, well-toned muscles, very sharp claws on the tips of his fingers, very sharp lengthened canines, 2 blonde fox ears on top of his head, and 9 furry blonde foxtails extending from the base of his spine. He was wearing black long pants without a shirt, so that all of his muscles were visible, and Hinata blushed a deep red, giggled, and fainted when she saw him. Now, that is over with, how about we wait until she wakes up to continue the questions? After about 10 minutes, Hinata started to move and quickly recognized that she was resting against something warm and cozy. She then embraced it even more. Well, it's good to see you're awake, Hinata-chan. Hinata gave a little eep as she jumped, then calmed down and noticed that she was holding one of Naruto's tails. She also blushed a little. I'll get back to answering your questions now. I suppose you're curious about my identity. But first, let me ask you a question. Do any of you know about the fabled Biju? Well, to tell you the truth, they aren't just legends, they're real, and I'm one of them, he added after noticing that they were all nodding. After observing their astonished expressions, he decided it was time to clarify a few more points. Alright, now pay close attention to what I'm going to tell you. I am Naruto, the Kyuubi no Kitsune and the guardian of the Leaf Village by my choice. With the exception of that jerk Shukaku, we Biju are not bad. Nevertheless, I decided to cut back on my traveling around a lot. Around 14 years ago I was fortunate to have my rebirth point approaching, which explains why I appear so young. I made the decision to locate a hidden village and covertly defend it. Few people are aware that I currently reside just outside the village walls, keeping an eye out for Konoha's adversaries. Hold on, why are you here if you're defending Konoha? A slightly alarmed Kurenai asked. Yes, that is an excellent question. As you can see, I currently have roughly 500 shadow clones in the village, keeping an eye out for potential threats. And I am physically present because I happened to notice someone while she was strolling through one of the village's parks. I began observing her because I wanted to know why she seemed so lonely. No, I wouldn't be a pervert. I would grant her the privacy she desires. For some reason, I felt compelled to console her after witnessing the way her father and clan elders treated her. Maybe it's because we both experience loneliness in a similar way. Being alone in the woods with only my own shadow clones for company can be quite isolating. Although the Hokage would occasionally come see me, it doesn't seem like enough, to be honest. The Hokage even proposed adopting me to help me feel less alone, but I am aware of how the people in Konoha are. If they don't understand something, they automatically turn it against you. I was living just outside the village walls for that reason. Alright, but why move to Konoha? Kiba inquired. You see, I was once from the Uzumaki clan's dominion in the land of whirlpools. But after Uzushiogakure was destroyed, I began to wander around in different guises. Since I was the Uzumaki clan's guardian, I reasoned that the Uzumaki clan was the only clan in the world that would fit the description of a very strong kunoichi with long red hair and a huge temper. As it turned out, when I got there, I had heard stories about a woman named Kushina Uzumaki who would frequently hang out with the 4th Hokage. I reasoned that I might as well safeguard the remaining members of the Uzumaki family, but I've discovered someone else that I feel compelled to protect, and that someone is you, Hinata, Naruto remarked, glancing at the red-faced and wide-eyed Hinata. Oh, and Hinata, the clan elders are attempting to take action that would prevent you from fulfilling either of your dreams. While I was merely watching, I overheard some of their meetings and learned that they were attempting to coerce your father into entering into a marriage contract with a snotty nobleman from another country, but I do have a strategy to prevent that from occurring. All you need to do is have faith in the 4th Hokage and your father. The elders in your clan are not to be trusted. As Hinata is about to cry, Naruto feels a strange ache in his heart and finds it impossible to bear to watch her in such sadness. He slowly envelops Hinata in an embrace and allows her to weep on his shoulder. After Hinata has finally calmed down enough, Naruto speaks once more. Alright, that's out of the way. I'll be assisting Team 8 with their training starting tomorrow. We must be prepared for Zabuza's full recovery. Upon noticing Hinata, Shino, Wo, and Kiba's wide eyes, he advised them to rest and promised to provide an explanation in the morning. In the morning, Team 7 was still recuperating from their encounter with Zabuza. Since Team 8 didn't have much to do during the battle, they went out to train with Naruto's assistance. They discovered 3 tall trees in the middle of the forest. Alright, pay attention, we're going to be climbing trees today, said Naruto, who appeared to be very preoccupied. Why is he preoccupied? Hinata chose to wear tight-fitting clothing today instead of her bulky jacket. When Kiba began attempting to climb a tree with his hands and feet and fell on his ass, he exclaimed, "That's easy." Kiba, not like that. Chakra will be used by you, Naruto said. Watch this, as he approached a tree and began to ascend its trunk. Kurenai then threw 3 kunai at their feet, and Kiba said, somewhat embarrassed, "Oh, yeah, I knew that." I want the three of you to mark your progress up the tree with those kunai kurenai said politely. You might want to start by taking a running start. While still in his Hanyu form, Naruto said, and, as each of you get it I will be taking you to a nearby water source and will be teaching you the next stage. With that they all went to work on the tree climbing exercise. Kiba was the first to start. He started running at top speed, and when he reached the tree and started running up it only to fall back on his ass after about 5 steps. Shino did the same thing but didn't fall on his ass and made it about 9 steps up the tree. But the most impressive was Hinata. She managed to go up the tree and make it all the way to the top on the first try. And for Hinata, she was really impressed with herself. She didn't know why, but the second she saw Naruto in his Hanyu form, she has had this strange desire to impress him in any way possible, whether it be with her looks or her skill. However, the second that she thought about Naruto, she lost focus and dropped off the tree. Immediately seeing it, Naruto started running straight up the tree. Hinata had closed her eyes waiting for the inevitable pain on landing on her back on the ground. However, the pain never came. Instead, she felt 2 arms catch her. When she opened her eyes she saw that she was being carried by Naruto, who had a concerned look in his eyes. How are you, Hinata-chan? She hugged Naruto tightly in his chest as she said, yes, Naruto-kun, I'm fine, now. This made Naruto tense up just enough that Hinata didn't notice, and he began to walk down the tree with Hinata in his arms while he kept repeating something in his head. No perverted thoughts, no perverted thoughts. After they were back on the ground, Naruto left a shadow clone with the others and led Hinata to a small clearing where he used an earth jutsu to carve out a pit that was just a little bit deeper than Hinata was tall. Then, using a water jutsu, he filled the pit with water and demonstrated to Hinata how to stay on top of the water. On her first attempt, Hinata fell into the water, but as she got out, she noticed Naruto observing and made the decision to get his attention even more. After she was out of the water, she shook her head slowly to get the water out, making sure to do it sexily, then slowly turned around and resumed the exercise. Throughout this entire time, Naruto could only think one thing, as his blush grew enormously. Why are you treating me like this, Hina-chan? Come on, this is comparable to torture. Naruto was red in the face and thinking about the same thing as Hinata continued the exercise. Then Naruto abruptly recalled something that the tailed beast's creator had once told him. No perverted thoughts, no perverted thoughts. Rewind. Alright all of you, there is something very important that you all need to know about before I unleash you onto the world. Creator, what is it? Asked Naruto, who appeared youthful and a little perplexed. It's about finding your soulmate. Animals typically have to fight for their mates when they find them. However, you will eventually find your soulmate when it comes to you. Biju, they will do everything in their power to impress you once you find them. Additionally, your self-control will be tested to the breaking point. Simply be ready for when it occurs. The end of the flashback. That's what's happening here. Shit, my mate of destiny is Hinata. There has been a slight change in the strategy to protect her from the elders. A new plan suddenly emerged, and Naruto thought, I will have to send a message to both Minato and Hiyashi about this. The last person to finish the tree climbing and water walking was Kiba, who decided to go out and train with Akamaru for a while. He fell asleep on the ground while training, and when he woke up, he was confronted by a girl who was probably 2 years older than him. With long black hair and chocolate brown eyes, she had a perfect hourglass figure, was wearing a sundress of some kind, and was carrying a basket full of herbs. Who are you? A slightly flushed Kiba asked. My name is Haku. I decided to check on you since you were dozing off on the ground, she said coolly. Oh, I'm grateful. By the way, my name is Kiba Inuzuka. How come you were out here? I was just collecting some herbs for a friend of mine who is hurt right now. That's cool. Do you need any assistance? Haku blushed a little at the boy's kindness and said, sure, I wouldn't mind a little help. The two spent the next half hour gathering herbs and chatting about various topics. When Kiba finally had to leave for home, he said goodbye, but not before Haku kissed him on the cheek, causing him to flush a few shades. After he had calmed down, he returned home to find Naruto sleeping on a couch and, to his surprise, Hinata sleeping directly on top of him. He then went to bed for what was sure to be an exciting night of dreams. Inari was experiencing one of his emo moments during breakfast the following morning. Why do you even bother fighting? You're just going to die. Naruto, who had woken up in an odd position because he didn't fall asleep with Hinata on top of him, said, because I'm not the type to give up. You ought to give up. Gato will simply send his men to kill you, just like he did with my dad, if you don't. Hey kid, let me tell you a little story. A village was once secretly guarded by a demon. He once made an attempt to visit and observe the village. But when the other villagers noticed him, they began chasing him around the village and threatened to kill him. Even though he continues to protect the village, even though he lives alone outside of it, The loneliness he endures is enough to drive a person to take their own life. Are you familiar with that demon? I am that demon only at night, when I'm making my rounds around the village. Do I ever venture inside? Have you figured out what my story is about? You have a mother, a grandfather, and family. You own a home. Be grateful for everything you have. To be honest, I haven't even slept through the entire night for the first time in a long time until this past week. Hold on a second, why didn't you stop Itachi Uchiha following the massacre if you have been secretly defending the village? Asked a bewildered Kakashi. Well, since the Uchiha isn't here right now, I will tell you as long as you never tell him. No problem, honestly I don't really like him, he's too damn arrogant. Alright, so I didn't stop Itachi for 3 reasons. First of all, I couldn't really fight him because my body wasn't in the right state of control. Second, if he hadn't done it, I would have done it when my body was ready and there wouldn't be any Uchiha left because the Uchiha family was too conceited for their own good. Finally, I think that by getting rid of the majority of the Uchiha, Itachi did me a favor. The fewer Sharingans there are, the happier I am because they have the ability to control me and cast genjutsu on me. To be honest, I will thank him the next time I see him for correcting a mistake made by the Sage of the 6 Paths. Alright, I suppose those justifications will suffice, but are you known to anyone but us? Yes, the first person to learn about me was your Hokage. I was around 6 years old when he first met me. In fact, he even proposed adopting me. However, I never wanted to go back into the village after what had happened when I was around 5. However, he was able to persuade me to at least sneak into the village at night. So, when we return, will you accompany us into the village? Yes, but I will be disguised, ideally with a long raincoat that will cover my tails. With the Hokage and Hiyashi Hyuga, I have some crucial business to attend to. The day that Zabuza and I fought one day, everyone arrived at the bridge to discover it completely engulfed in fog, and upon stepping out onto the bridge, they discovered the bodies of the workers. Naruto said calmly but alertly, "Okay everyone, I will only intervene if I feel it is absolutely necessary." As they approached, they noticed 2 silhouettes in the mist, and they kept moving forward until they heard a deep laugh coming from the mist. I see that everyone chose to attend. Good, after that fucking fox deceived me. I kind of wanted a rematch. Where's that little bastard, by the way? As Zabuza's eyes widened, Naruto whispered in his right ear, "He's right behind you, Zabuza." "Oh, don't worry, I won't intervene unless I feel that it is necessary," Zabuza said. "For the time being, you are safe and I'm no ordinary fox. Either A is the king of Kitsune and I'll beat you. I am the Kyuubi no Kitsune. I truly am a demon." Zabuza is now so white that he is blending into the mist and trembling so much that he would make a vibrating chair look insignificant. Haku was also shaking at this point, but she decided to live because she wanted to know what it was like to have a respectable life free from constant travel and to experience what it was like to be in a relationship. Kofkibako. Well, isn't this fascinating? It appears that you have lost your partner, Zabuza. Oh well, if this battle didn't work out anyhow, I was going to let her leave with you guys. She had been discussing a child who had a white dog. Okay, but for the time being we will need to keep her in check, miss. Will you accept that? Yes. Good. Just hold still. After tying Haku up with ninja wire, Naruto walked slowly back to the group, where they questioned how he had managed to do it once he was there. He had Kiba take off her mask to gauge his reaction, and when he did, his eyes widened to the size of dinner plates upon realizing who it was. I assumed that you two had previously met. I could smell a second scent on you when you returned from training late a few nights ago, and I could smell the same scent on you when I was near her. Thus, this is the person who has diverted your attention. Kiba blushed slightly as she said, "Yeah, and her name is Haku." Okay, well, leave the fight with Zabuza to the Junins. Kakashi and Kurenai then faced Zabuza, and they were winning handily when they heard a spooky laugh from the other side of the bridge. A short man who appeared to be a businessman said, "So the great demon of the mist couldn't even beat some leaf ninja. How pathetic." About 200 thugs were gathered on the bridge behind the little man. "Gato, what more could you possibly want than to have me killed so you won't have to pay me? But that's precisely what you're here for, based on the quantity of thugs you have here." "Yes, that and to kill that damn bridge builder." But before anyone could notice anything, 3/4 of the thugs were burned by an incredibly large stream of blue fire that appeared out of nowhere. "So, you decided to step in at this point, right? You ruined a lot of the fun I was going to have, damn you." Naruto grinned and flashed all 9 tails, saying, "Tell you what, I'll let you take down Gato and anyone else you can get to before I start attacking." Agree. Where do I begin now? Ultimately, Zabuza eliminated Gato and roughly 25 thugs, leaving Naruto to burn the remaining 25. "How about you accompany us back to Konoha, Zabuza? We could definitely use a very good Kenjutsu instructor. Haku wouldn't mind seeing at least one person he knows. I'm sure, Naruto said. I can put in a good word for you with the Hokage. Sure thing, kid. You are aware that I am more than 2,000 years old, right? Yeah, anyway, for a demon you aren't very vicious unless you need to be. That's due to the fact that I'm not a malicious kitsune. I worship the fertility deity Inari. I'm a decent fox. After that, they all went back to Tezuna's house, where they saw two samurai bound and watched by a shadow clone of Naruto. They all kept guard over Tezuna and his family until the bridge was finished, and on the final day, they were all on the bridge preparing to depart when the entire town arrived to bid them farewell. Are you really required to leave, Naruto-ni-san? Naruto chuckled a little at this point. Yes, I do have to leave because some of my shadow clones back home have scattered, but it's not often that someone will consider one of the 9 Biju as a brother, and if I'm right about Hinata's mental state right now, I doubt she'll appreciate me staying here. But keep one thing in mind. What is that? Your name. Keep in mind that the god I serve inspired your name. After saying, actually, I have an idea, Naruto performed a number of hand seals. Kuchios no Jutsu, and a tiny white kitten with 2 tails showed up. Naruto-sama, what do you want from me? I want you to watch this kid that you see here. He is an extremely significant individual. All right, cue me? Okay. Naruto-sama, and one more thing, don't call me Sama, it makes me feel old. A cunning grin appeared on the little kitsune's face as she said, okay, Naru-chan. Everyone burst out laughing at this point, and the ninja departed with Hinata dangling from Naruto's arm and Haku clutching Kiba's hand. What then ought to be the bridge's name? Tezuna inquired. Inari proposed. How about the Great Naruto Bridge? Yes, that will do great, the Great Naruto Bridge, named after the person who inspired us all to stand up for ourselves. Main gate of Konoha. At the guard station, 2 Chunin guards were waiting for an exciting event to occur when one of them noticed a sizable crowd approaching from the distance. Hey, Katetsu, Z's, Katetsu, Z's. Katetsu. Oh, it was just you, Azuma. What are you looking for? We have a large group headed our way. How many people are there? It looks to be about 10, okay, get ready for anything. When the group arrived at the gate 5 minutes later, the guards noticed that it was teams 7 and 8 returning from their mission, but they also had Zabuza Momochi, a girl they didn't know, and a man with a black cloak covering his entire body, with only his piercing blue eyes visible beneath his hood. After our mission, teams 7 and 8 are returning. A few more people who wanted to join the Leaf Village were picked up by us by chance. Observing their anxious expressions, Kakashi said, don't worry about the boy in the cloak. He has direct orders from the Hokage. Okay, you can enter, just keep your eyes on them. Don't worry about that. To report on their mission, the group went to the Hokage tower and knocked on the door. After a few seconds, they heard a quiet, shit, and then they heard someone say, come in. The group entered the office and saw the Hokage and his wife, but his wife's long red hair was a bit of a mess, and they both appeared a little agitated. Teams 7 and 8 reporting a mission completed, Hokage-sama, said Kakashi. All right, tell me why I have a girl standing in my office staring at Kiba, Zabuza Momochi, and a boy in a cloak. The boy in the cloak said, I can explain that, Hokage-sama. He then lowered the hood to reveal Naruto. It's nice to see you again, Naruto. You have been personally monitoring Hinata, then. Indeed, sir, and Zabuza is present because he was our adversary but was deceived by his employer. Haku is the girl looking at Kiba. She actually gave herself up before the last battle with Zabuza because she didn't want to die, and he saved her from dying in the cold. Zabuza decided to join us after eliminating Gato and his thugs because he didn't want to fight me. In the end, I reasoned that we would have a fantastic Kenjutsu instructor if he wanted to join the village, so we let him. Additionally, Haku is descended from Hyuden. It's interesting, and given the circumstances, I think your decision to bring them here was sound. Zabuza will need to be placed on probation. We can also turn Haku into a genin at this moment if she desires it, as she was never a ninja. I also want to join the Konoha ninja force, Hokage-sama. Haku and I can be added to a special 2 ninja team. I'd like to participate in the Chunin exams as well. I have the impression that a friend of mine will be present this time. All right, what else is there? Yes, there have been some changes to the plan. With wide eyes, the Hokage said, okay, teams 7 and 8 along with Haku and Zabuza may go. After they had all departed, he dispatched an Anbu to retrieve Hiyashi. Hiyashi showed up about 15 minutes later and said, you sent for me, Hokage-sama? I did. Indeed, it has just come to my attention that the plan has changed. Are you certain that we ought to discuss that in the current organization? Asked a slightly alarmed Hiyashi. Well, seeing how one is my wife and the other person in here is the one who came up with the plan, I think we'll be fine. Wait, you mean that a boy who was only 13 years old came up with the idea to save Hinata from the caged bird seal? Hey, take a look furthermore, I am older than you in theory. I did, however, come up with the plan. I am also the fox who spent the entire time with your daughter. Anyway, let's talk about the plan modifications. I found something on this most recent mission that will benefit everyone. For a little while, even the elderly will be happy. As you can see, they advised you to arrange a marriage contract with a foreign noble according to the information I was given when I was created, which states that every Biju has a mate in the world and that there are signs that ensure even the most dense individuals can see it. The new information that was found indicates that Hinata and I are reportedly destined to be together. Among them is an insatiable urge to win over said Biju. In any case, we are giving the elders what they desire. What? Yes, precisely as I stated. As you can see, I'm originally from the land of whirlpools, like Kashinaheim, not the land of fire. Despite some of my antics, I was regarded as one of the most honorable creatures in the land of whirlpools. In essence, you arrange for Hinata and I to get married, but you don't tell the elders where they can find me just yet. Instead, you wait until the second Chunin exam to announce the arrangement to Hinata and the rest of the clan. Because she is under my protection, Hinata will remain the heiress and the Hyuga elders will be afraid to attempt sealing her or doing anything to her. In any case, should we establish the contract right away? Well, that is very well thought out, and with this plan we can make the elders happy and then burst their bubble, Hiyashi pondered. Yes, we should finish this up before the elders have a chance to stop it, and when the moment comes, I'll make an effort to keep her silent while you're making the engagement announcement. She won't reveal it too soon that way. In order to appease the elders for the time being, Hiyashi took the contract back to the Hyuga compound after he and Naruto had established it with the Hokage's approval.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.